13. Channel 13, KCOP, Los Angeles, a Chris Kraft television station. From Los Angeles, News 13, with Tim Malloy, Wendy Rutledge, sports with Mike Chamberlain, and Mike McKay's weather.
Good evening and welcome to News 13. At the top of our news,
brush fires rage as temperatures soar. The red flag fire alert is flying over Los Angeles County tonight as brush fires continue to sweep through the Southland. The flames have also forced the rest of Southern California into a state of extreme fire danger. News 13's Jack Popejoy was on the fire lines all day, and he is here now with a report. Jack?
Well, this afternoon, Tim, it seemed like a couple of major Southern California brush fires were literally breaking out every hour. Now, here's how the larger, more dangerous fires are spread out across Southern California. 1,500 acres consumed so far near San Luis Obispo. The city of Ojai is being threatened tonight from the north by a 3,500-acre blaze that's closed Highway 33 in Los Padres National Forest. Tonight, Las Virgenes Canyon near Malibu has lost 10 acres to flames that closed Ventura Freeway off-ramps and for a time forced evacuation of 150 camp school kids. 20,000 acres have gone up in smoke and come down in ash near Palm Springs, with containment not expected till this weekend. It's because of the extremely steep terrain there. Near Lake Sherwood in Thousand Oaks, control isn't expected till Wednesday, with 4,000 acres and one structure already lost. 700 firefighters and 10 helicopters have managed three-quarters containment because yesterday's 30-mile-per-hour wind subsided a bit this afternoon. West Covina firefighters were able to knock down a 3-acre blaze right next to Interstate 10, just as it began to singe a nearby home. These firefighters had just come from a grass fire 3 miles away. Some were immediately dispatched to that big fire near Ojai.
We've had a lot of dry weather, although the humidity's been up the last couple of days, that the fuel load is drying out.
Late this afternoon, flames consumed about 15 acres in San Dimas off the 210 freeway. One home was destroyed as nearby residents watered down their roofs. As elsewhere, with wooded areas going up, the danger to wildlife is also extreme. This rabbit, for example, managed to get out of the firestorm alive, but singed and obviously frightened. Meanwhile, to the south, San Diego's worst urban fire ever roared through more than 6 homes in Normal Heights yesterday. Investigators say it was deliberately set. Another 8,000 acres were blazing today near San Diego. L.A. County authorities stressed that many of the summer brush fires may well be the result of kids playing with holiday fireworks.
We now have 2 years of vegetation that hasn't been burned off. We've had a lot of maturing of the brush out there, and now we're in extreme heat early in the season, and so it's probably going to happen this year is going to be the big brush season that all the fire departments have hoped that would never happen.
As we reported a couple of weeks ago, the moisture-laden ceanothus plant, which grows in wilderness areas and tends to slow or even stop brush fires, well, the ceanothus plant is dying off for some reason this year, adding up to 20 tons of extra fuel per acre in some of that mountainous terrain.
2 questions, Jack. How do these get started, number one? And are we looking at one of the worst fire seasons ever? Potentially, anyway.
Well, to take those questions in order, for one thing, the fire people tell us that the 4th of July falling in this area, the fireworks stands opening just a couple of days ago. Yeah. In many cases, they're pretty sure it's kids playing with fireworks in that tinder dry brush. And secondly, one of the experts, the L.A. County expert, told me that it was possibly the worst fire season this year in perhaps a century. This is really bad stuff.
Rough summer.
bad timing with the 4th of July.
Boy, I'll say.
Gee, and fire wasn't the only enemy to firefighters today. They also had to battle heat on the hottest 1st of July ever in Southern California. On the positive side, though, they didn't have to battle Santa Ana winds. Mike McKay is here now with the facts and figures behind today's scorcher. Mike?
Well, Wendy, the lack of Santa Ana winds is about the only consolation, but it wasn't any consolation to anyone who wasn't near a swimming pool or an air conditioner. The mercury climbed all the way up to the 107-degree mark. That makes it the hottest July 1st in L.A. history. Now, if you're hoping to cool off tonight, don't expect much relief. Last night, it got down only 77 degrees. And if you're anywhere to the north or east, I don't have to tell you that it was even hotter there. But Southern Californians, at least some of them, are made for days like today. They know just what to do. The beaches were about as crowded as they possibly could get. The only people who didn't go were at home in front of an air conditioner or in a pool or maybe at work. Southern California Edison and the Department of Water had big days. They set new records for energy consumption. They're also asking customers not to use appliances much during the day. They're hoping, Wendy, to avoid a blackout because of a power shortage.
Okay, Mike, and you'll be back with the complete weather forecast later in the show.
That I'll do.
Thank you very much.
And a different kind of heat is being felt in one of the worst food poisoning cases ever. A state Senate committee thinks it has pinned down the reasons for the food contamination that has killed at least 50 people who ate Jalisco brand cheese. News 13's Nathan Roberts met with the head of the committee today. He has this report.
Blame it on state and local agencies. That's what the head of the committee, Senator Art Torres, says. He says two things went wrong. First, state inspectors simply did not make adequate inspections of the Jalisco cheese factory.
Some people are not doing their jobs at all. And I think the people that are responsible for these kinds of incompetencies ought to be fired immediately from state government.
The second thing that went wrong was that county health officials did not identify the epidemic quickly enough. A paperwork problem, according to Torres.
Right now, if you happen to be a cow and you contract listeriosis, the fact that you have that is going to be reported to a state agency. If you're a human being and contract listeriosis, up until a few days ago, there wasn't that requirement.
Because of these problems, Torres thinks the state and county will soon be facing massive lawsuits in connection with the listeriosis deaths. He also points out that a criminal investigation continues into Jalisco's role in the tragedy and wonders if any government officials might be investigated also.
While the investigation into the outbreak of listeriosis continues, Senator Torres is moving to introduce legislation in Sacramento that he hopes will prevent such an outbreak from ever occurring again. In downtown Los Angeles, Nathan Roberts, News 13.
News 13 has contacted the State Department of Agriculture for a response to those charges. They declined to comment, however. They will release a statement tomorrow.
And coming up, President Reagan takes action against terrorists as 3 European cities become the targets of terrorist bombings.
Many of the former hostages begin the journey back to America, and one Southland family prepares for a homecoming celebration.
Remember the days when prices were low and produce was fresh from the farm? Well, that's what you'll find at Ralph's Old-Fashioned Country Fair, a summer-long celebration of farm-fresh produce at old-fashioned prices.
The old days are also back at Knott's Berry Farm's all-new Boomtown. And this summer, Ralph's has an exclusive $2 savings on Knott's adult and children's unlimited use tickets. Get great savings all summer long
During Ralph's Old-Fashioned Country Fair.
Motor Trend's 1985 Import Car of the Year is here now. Available only at your Toyota dealers. The Toyota MR2. Unmatched in styling and performance, is just asking you to take a test drive today. With a mid-engine 16-valve power plant, it calls you to take to the road. Set the pace. Be the first to own this ultra driving machine. The MR2. Exciting power and incredible styling of the future is available now. And at a price you won't believe.
I'm here for my appointment. You'll have to leave your car.
A foreign car dealer may not be the easiest place to get a foreign car muffler, struts, or brakes. At Midas, you don't need an appointment, and Midas has over 1,400 locations. You'll have the work done at the right price, usually while you wait.
Mr. B, your foreign car dealer calls. They have to order your muffler. It'll take a week, so why didn't you go to Midas?
Trust the Midas touch. Boy, did I save money. I got the Super Saver.
So, I'm flying the Dilly Deluxe.
Big deal. I got the double whammy.
Enough confusion. AirCal makes saving easy with frugal fares. Fly to Portland or Seattle with fares as low as $99 each way Tuesdays and Wednesdays, $109 the rest of the week. Call AirCal's single call service now for AirCal's frugal fares. AirCal, we make flying easy.
President Reagan has vowed to bring to justice those responsible for the Beirut hijacking. And today, a State Department official said the government knows the names of the 3 original hijackers of TWA Flight 847. The administration says it has a plan to do battle with the terrorists.
The purpose of it has to be not to conduct a random act of vengeance, but instead to focus our power on dealing with the root sources of terrorism, where people are trained, where they are housed, fed, sustained over time.
The White House has already announced plans to retaliate against the hijackers. The president wants to shut down the Beirut airport. He hopes to do that by terminating U.S. landing rights for the Lebanese national carrier and banning air cargo service to Lebanon. And he's planning to ask other Western governments to do the same. It was a day of terror across Europe as bombs exploded in 3 cities. The worst of the attacks was in Madrid, where a man threw a box of explosives in a crowded British Airways ticket office. 1 person was killed, 27 people were injured, including 17-year-old Sydney Bridges of Ontario, California. The TWA offices are 1 floor above British Airways. An anonymous caller told the Beirut news agency the bombing was a response to President Reagan's threat to strike back at terrorists. A second bomb attack at a nearby building was defused after police deactivated a grenade. In Rome, a bomb exploded at Leonardo da Vinci Airport, injuring 2 employees. And in Athens, Greece, an automobile loaded with propane tanks blew up, destroying 4 cars. 3 of them belong to U.S. military personnel stationed in Greece. No one was injured in the blast, and no one has claimed responsibility. Tim?
Wendy, in Israel tonight, there are reports that the government plans to release 300 Lebanese prisoners within the next 2 days. Israel is holding 735 Lebanese, most of them Shiites, whose release was demanded by the TWA hijackers. Israeli officials maintain there is no connection between their decision and the release of the 39 American hostages. Most, if not all, of the 39 former hostages freed over the weekend will be coming home to the United States tomorrow. Their first full day of freedom after more than 2 weeks under the guns of Lebanese Shiite extremists was generally one of rest, transatlantic telephone calls, in some cases reunions. The men arrived in West Germany yesterday after a flight from Damascus to a greeting from U.S. military personnel and Vice President George Bush, who saluted the men for their courage.
847 was hijacked. You displayed character and spirit. You endured this cruel and painful experience with courage. Your country is proud of you.
This first full day of freedom for the group, while generally upbeat, was not without controversy. One unidentified former hostage criticized members of the group who have called for greater understanding of the Shiite cause by Americans. He said that after seeing one of the hijackers shoot an American between the eyes, he doesn't buy all this stuff about how Muslims are really our friends. They're getting ready for a big homecoming celebration at Newbury Park, home of former hostage Thomas Murray. As members of the family planned the party, one of them took time to consider how what has passed may affect what is ahead. News 13's Miriam Hernandez has that story.
See him. Even though it was videotaped, it will never replace the hug he's going to get from me when I first see him.
17 days of shattered nerves and endless worry are finally put aside. There is a celebration to plan, Dad's favorite cake to bake. There is time to take inventory of emotions spent and what's left to give.
It has definitely strengthened our faith. It really has strengthened our faith. I've always thought that I did a pretty good job of doing for my neighbors. But after seeing what people have done for us, I will make myself a lot more available for my friends and neighbors when they are in trouble.
Mary Ann Robertson will soon leave her parents' rural home to return to her own family in Oklahoma. There are 7 children waiting, wheat to be harvested, plenty to keep her mind occupied, but maybe not enough.
It will always, always be with us.
Mr. Murray is not expected home until Thursday night, and it probably will be a late one. That's because it will be 4th of July, Independence Day, and the family has a pretty strong feeling that the president is not going to pass up an opportunity to appear with the hostages safely home on the White House lawn. And they know Mr. Murray is not a person to pass up a presidential invitation. From Newbury Park, Miriam Hernandez, News 13.
For more upbeat news, we turn to Mike Chamberlain.
Let me welcome you guys, can I? I was going to bring some Perrier water and sprouts and some quiche and do it right, you know? But you guys, you look marvelous, let me tell you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Southern California. Ever heard of the restricted list? Well, Dodger pitcher Steve Howe has been placed on it. We'll explain that after a short tribute, though, to Pedro Guerrero. You look marvelous. We'll be right back.
Next on Barney Miller, a visitor from headquarters.
Scanlon, Internal Affairs. Harris, Human Race.
And the boys arrest a dope peddler with thousands.
It's my life savings. I was just changing banks.
I got the respect to every hooker and deviant between Times Square and the Village. Can you say that?
I don't think so.
Monday at 11 on Channel 13.
For years, I took so many pain pills I could hardly think straight. Now look at me. No more pain, no more pills. And all it took was one call to the Pain Treatment Center in Big Bend. Their personal attention and new techniques and treatment made my pain nothing more than a memory. Stop living your life in unnecessary pain. Call the Pain Treatment Center today. They care.
The Pain Treatment Center, 213-385-8464 or 714-866-6501. Call now. Convenient facilities throughout Southern California.
Some people are so embarrassed at how dull their car looks, they'll do anything to avoid recognition. But for only $139, you can get a beautiful new paint job and a whole new outlook on life. One day paint and body.
Mom, Dad's here to take us for a ride.
You don't have to hide anymore.
Hi, everybody. It is time for sports. Steve Howe's baseball career is back on hold. The Dodgers have put him on a special restricted list and have called up Dennis Powell from Albuquerque. Howe missed yesterday's game, but he and his agent met with the Dodgers this morning. Little is being said about that meeting. Howe did take a drug test, and it was negative today. However, the Dodgers say that Howe's explanation of where he was yesterday proves that he is incapable of playing baseball with the Dodgers at this time. Well, at the stadium tonight, the Dodgers were on a rampage tonight. They got the first run against Cincinnati on a cheapie, if you will. Mariano Duncan scores on a wild pitch. There's no such thing as a cheapie run, is there? But there's nothing cheap about this run. A fourth inning homer by Dave Anderson. Who? Yeah, Dave Anderson. He's not supposed to hit home runs. There's certainly nothing cheap about either this shot, too. A shot by Greg Brock into the right field pavilion, and that is a three-run homer. All of this more than enough for Oral Hershiser tonight, who wins his 8th game on a 4-hitter. Nice work by Oral. There's the final score, 8-1 Dodgers. L.A. now in second place in a tie with the Reds. And by the way, thanks to the heat, the early start, and national television, only 23,000 at the park tonight. That is a season low. Elsewhere, the Padres win in 10, so the Padres and the Reds are 5 back. And Dale Murphy's 19th home run led Atlanta tonight. In the East, the Expos moved to within a half a game of the Cardinals. The Cubs are now 3.5 back. And the slumping Mets have lost 6 in a row, 1-0 the final tonight. The Texas Rangers have one of the worst records and one of the worst team batting averages in the major leagues. But they certainly fooled the Angels tonight. The final was 10-5 in favor of the Texas Rangers. Pete O'Brien carried the big Texas bat in the bottom of the first. He belted his 9th homer of the season to tie the game at 2. And then in the second, with the 2 out and the bases loaded, he whacked this one into the gap, and all 3 runs would come in to score. And the Rangers go on for the easy victory. Rupert Jones, by the way, hit his 12th home run of the season for the California Angels. Meanwhile, Dusty Baker, remember him, hit a 3-run homer with 2 out in the 9th. Oakland is only a game back of the Angels now. The White Sox lose their 6th in a row. But happy birthday, Kaminsky Park. They are 75 years old today. In the East, the Blue Jays lose. The Tigers hit 3 homers to win. So Detroit moves to within 2.5. And the Brewers win. The Indians beat the Twins on a final of 5-2. Sunshine, it was a welcome sight at Wimbledon today. It looks like it'll stay for the rest of the tournament, thank goodness. As he usually does, the second week of a major championship, John McEnroe raised his level of play. He ran Christo Stein of South Africa all over the court, and he finally won in straight sets. For the ladies, Chris Everett Lloyd coming up here in the far court had some dandy passing shots, like this upcoming forehand. She had no trouble with Jenny Byrne of Australia, 6-2, 6-1. Hannah Mandlikova in the far court. Watch this one, the shot of the day. Behind the back, passing shot, yeah. But Hannah was also the victim of the upset of the day, getting dumped by Elizabeth Smiley of Australia in 3 sets. Hannah, by the way, was the number 3 seed. Some other results, the men's 2nd seed Yvonne Lendl won easily, but 7th-seeded Joachim Nystrom beaten by Boris Becker of West Germany, 9-7 in the 5th set. One other women's score, 5th-seeded Pam Shriver eliminated Virginia Wade.
And finally tonight, let's go back to baseball for just a second or two. What do you do if you're getting booed every time you come to the plate by your home fans? Well, you come out onto the field incognito, of course. Check out the dark glasses and the Philly wig by you-know-who. You can see the name on his back. Mike Schmidt had the guts to show up like that today. The best part, it worked. He got his first ovation in a long, long time in Philadelphia, and Tim and I were just kind of joking. He really doesn't deserve it. The guy's off to a little bit of a rough start, but come on, he's had future Hall of Famer.
He'll hit 30 this year, I bet you.
Absolutely, but they boo him nonetheless.
Well, you can't concentrate when you're being booed at, huh?
The pitcher, it's hard to throw when you're laughing. You know, that's the theory of it.
Well, still to come, Mike McKay has some hot tips on the Southland's heat wave.
And a new law affecting California drivers gets into gear.
Right now, Alpha Beta is sizzling with red-hot specials. You'll find red-hot prices this week at Alpha Beta. We've got a real sizzler on Foster Farms Fryers, 53 cents a pound. A surefire way to heat up your family's appetite. And we slice the price on red, ripe watermelon. It's a red-hot 6 cents a pound. Taste the sweet and juicy savings. Get this week's red-hot specials only at Alpha Beta. Tell a friend.
This weekend, I'm seeing Rhonda. I got the Camaro. I'm seeing the folks, so I got a Chevette. My sister's in town this weekend with her kids.
You need a big car.
For just the right car, ask National for their low weekend rates from $19.95 a day for an economy car to $32.95 for a luxury car.
For my class reunion, the Cadillac.
Weekends, it pays to get national attention. Some stores sell paint, but Standard Brands has quality paint at $2.99 a gallon, and $3.99 a gallon, and $4.99 a gallon, and $5.99 a gallon. In fact, Standard Brands has the greatest selection of money-saving choices available, and every paint is unconditionally guaranteed. Imagine, as low as $2.99 a gallon. With prices like these, why wait? Standard Brands. When it comes to paint, we set the standard.
There's a party going on with Southern California's hottest hit music on 93 FM, KKHR.
Hit radio!
Charged with only the hottest hits. Powered by only the hottest artists. Connect with LA's Hit Music Authority. 93 FM, KKHR.
Hit radio!
Driven by the hottest names in hit music. Power up. Hit Radio 93.
KKHR!
The California Highway Patrol is on the lookout tonight for Californians who drive without car insurance. As News 13's George Collegesi reports, from now on, you better carry proof you're covered or pay the price.
People won't be pulled over arbitrarily to show law enforcement people proof their vehicle is insured. Instead, when you're stopped for a moving or vehicle code violation, the procedure will go something like this.
I'd like to see your driver's license, please.
Sure.
Okay.
It was yellow when I entered, sir.
Right. Do you have the proof of insurance on your car?
Yeah, it's a new car. There's my
Very good. Thank you very much.
If they fail to come up with the information, an additional charge will be added to the citation.
Prior to the law to show proof of insurance, it's been estimated that a third to a half of all vehicle owners in California were not insured. The CHP didn't have any numbers to give us today on how many people were written up for no insurance proof, but did say a number were cited. Okay, you're stopped for a moving violation. The officer asks you for some sort of proof of insurance. You have it, but you have no proof with you. What do you do then?
If that person has insurance in effect at the time, then all they have to do is to take that proof of insurance with them to the court. And the law provides that the court then must dismiss that charge, so there would not be a fine of $100 that would otherwise be applied.
And what if you don't have insurance and you tell an officer you do, giving false information? Well, a $500 fine and suspension of your driver's license. A word to the wise. In Culver City, George Collegesi, News 13.
Those who ride RTD buses in Los Angeles had to start making some adjustments today. The nation's cheapest big city bus ride ended as regular fares went up from 50 to 85 cents. Monthly passes up from $20 to $32. Even special fares for the elderly, handicapped, and students increased. The hikes come just as the bus service is losing $43 million in local transit funds from taxes. And Mike McKay is here now with the weather. Not a day to even be in close to buses or in cars, just in the air conditioning, as far as I'm concerned.
Before we get to the weather, welcome to both of you. We're happy to have you here at the Big 1-3. And if our ratings are as torrid as the weather you brought us, we're in first place. You know, we had an inauguration of a mayor today. It was Tom Bradley's big day, of course, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to show you some of it, but I can tell you there was a life-size sculpture there of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but it was so hot that by the time he finished his inaugural address, Sammy Davis Jr. Let's go outside and see the temperature right now. All right, look at that. Can you believe 88 degrees? Well, believe it, because that's what it is. Fortunately, the relative humidity has been kind all day. As you can see, it's 25%. The barometer is steadied off. That was the high in Los Angeles. A new record, needless to say, will be breaking records for the next couple days. 118 in Ontario was the warmest spot in California today. It was 106 in Burbank. Around the nation, it's not exactly cool either. As you can see, 70s all the way up in the Great Lakes, but the real warm spot, again, continues to be the Southwest, and it'll be 110 plus in the deserts tomorrow. So if you're heading there, be prepared. Satellite picture, interestingly enough, along the coast, you can see some low clouds. Unfortunately, there's not too many around Southern California. We've just got this enormous high-pressure system that's keeping the beach clouds out. We'll get a little bit of activity, but my friends, that says it right there. That's today's record heat all throughout the Southwest. San Francisco, believe it or not, had 99 degrees. Can you imagine that? They very seldom get 99, never on this state. Storms are all east of the Mississippi, and it's a good place to keep them, I would say. Here's the bad news. I got to report this. Thursday, upper winds, 18,000 feet. This is what's going to be pushing the weather around Thursday, right? The day after the 4th. Big high-pressure center. Right now, it's only about here. It's only going to move that far, and that's just going to continue to bring us a lot of very, very hot air. Situation with that tomorrow. Dry. It's going to stay very dry. Phooey on it, huh? If you like the warm weather, you're in the right place because we've just got nothing but warm weather. There'll be some first-stage smog alerts, though. Look at them. A couple of new areas that we normally don't get. Here's on the second page. Take a piece. Get this. The coastal areas, of course, too, and the Hemet, Elsinore area. My goodness. All right. Now we've got to talk about some temperatures, and it's going to be well up in the century marks a lot of places tomorrow. And also, even in the mountains, it's going to get to 86. Super hot tomorrow. The following day will be sizzle time. And you know something? Children from 10 Valley Elementary Schools wrote essays on the subject, What Independence Day Means to Me. And if we get to our weather window, we'll find out what it means to one young man. As a matter of fact, his name is Peter Gorgeson. He's from the Dixie Canyon School, and listen to this guy. He's right on.
Independence means the freedom to be an individual and the freedom to fulfill your dreams. Independence means the freedom to honor or practice whatever religion you want.
Well, Peter, no wonder you were one of the winners. Congratulations to all the youngsters. They all got prizes from the Independence Bank, and I asked for a prize, but they said you didn't have an essay. Get out of here. Once again,
right.
Welcome, and it's hot, isn't it?
It's hot. What a welcome. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. That's News 13 for tonight. Thanks for being with us.
And we'll be back tomorrow night. Join us then.
Good night.
Good night.
What's in